think that was a little bit of, he was having trouble off the tee. If you're not really accurate off the tee on the south, you're like the north course is relatively open, so even if you spray it around, you're in the rough, but it's not too bad, and you've got to look at the green. So it's the south course, there's dog legs, so you hit it to the left, and it's a dog leg left, so now you've got to hit out again and then around.
Yeah, so when I play those two courses, the premium for the south course is definitely driving and iron play, where you have the north, not so much, but a lot more about putting.
Yeah.
Right? It's bigger greens, more undulation on those. Typically. So we're getting a little forward shafting, but we don't need to close the club face, right? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you set up for me, okay, good. And we want that a little bit up in our setup. So you're going to move this way. You're going to feel this way. There you go. Feel like it's almost, to you, it's going to feel like you're hitting a 5-wood. Okay? Good. Feel how you're falling back there, big guy?
Yeah.
Do it again. So we want to a few things that we want to kind of address is that grip a little bit. And the big thing I'm going to ask is, why do we have a glove on our right hand?
Because I get tears on my hand, so peel the skin, so I can't play. Because this hand would be like burned when I got hurt. So I wear both.
So that's why we want to address the grip. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we shouldn't be having that right there. Does that make sense, big guy? So we gotta kind of start losing the glove a little bit. But if we're getting that in our right hand, it tells me that we're losing the club face with our grip a little bit, right? So I shouldn't. This guy's just on for the guide. I shouldn't have anything getting rubbed up against the inner part of that right there. So it tells me that we need to kind of address our grip, especially when I see what the face is kind of doing. It's just kind of, when you get here, you're up at the top, and as you come through, that thing's pointing way over here, right? So it tells me at some place at impact or coming down or through, we're re-gripping or doing something like that. Does that make sense?
I can play without it just when it starts to burn it.
Well, let's take it off and let's take a look at the grip real quick, okay? Because I think you get it too far underneath here, okay?
He does, yeah. He gets underneath it
Mm-hmm.
pretty bad sometimes, and then there was a couple weeks ago. We were at the range and he blistered up pretty good.
It's like right here and like right here. I've had really bad ones that were super, super deep.
Just so he was able to play, because he had the blisters came up and then popped. So
Yeah.
it was a little sore. So I was like, yeah, put a glove on.
So let's do this. So let's just kind of focus on the grip here. So we're going to put that in our left hand right there. Okay. All right. So here you go. Feel the fingers. All right. There we go. Now let's bring in that right hand. There you go. Okay. So we shouldn't have any pressure right here, but when you get it like this, okay, that's going to be your fallback, right? That's going to be your thing that you're going to press against with your right hand to get that thing to close, and that's not what we want. Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we need to kind of work on right there, getting this right hand more in a better position right here, getting that left hand over. Okay. So with just that being said, I want you to grip, re-grip, okay, and get a feel for that, okay? All right, so here we go. There you go, okay? So you got to get into that mold a little bit, okay? There we go. Re-grip it again. Okay. Oh, re-grip it again. Yeah. There you go. Okay, feel where that's at. We don't want to start, over-prescribing ourselves and going too far over. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, once again. Good. So do you feel how much more the right hand's more on top for what you're used to?
Yeah.
Right? Once we start getting that underneath like this, then we're going to start falling back, what we kind of see a little bit, right? And then we're going to start putting pressure onto that right hand a little bit, right? We want to make sure that as we're getting here, we're more coming down and through, right? And making sure that we feel like the pressure is in the inside part of my right hand as I'm coming through, if anything, but really feeling like my left hand's pulling through. Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, let's keep working on that just for a minute, okay? that something you find yourself doing, Kyle, as well?
What's that?
Getting the right hand underneath a little bit?
Yeah, I don't get like blisters on the inside of my hand so much.
Uh-huh.
I do notice that, and I think it's grip related. If I do the interlock, and I've been trying to work on it and be better about it,
Okay.
is my knuckle on my pinky will get really sore and really swollen,
Okay.
and I don't know if it's like I'm squeezing too hard, probably.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing that bothers me on my grip. And when we played Saturday, I played 18 and I got done and I was like, okay, I don't feel, it was fine.
Okay.
Like a little bit, but not like, and I think too, I try to swing too hard.
Gotcha.
And I get the tension
Mm-hmm.
and try to grip it, rip it too much, and then I get that soreness.
Okay, so we're gonna focus on a little bit of the grip today. Right? Getting a notice of what that feels like right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just keep going. You're doing good. Okay. Good. All right. Get that right hand into that mold. Okay. Don't try to cheat yourself. There you go. There you go. All right. Okay. So if I come on over here and do this to you, let's put that down. Okay. What I want you to kind of do is I want you to make sure that you can do this. You see what we're doing right there?
Yeah.
All right, see how that pad's over top and that hand's there? Okay, so we're going to start with that, okay? See if you can do that for me, okay?
Left hand?
With your left hand, yes, sir. Yeah, see how you got it in the fingers? We need to have it in the pad. So you feel that pad over top? Yeah. Yeah, this guy's got to be out. All right. Yeah, so it tells us, yeah, kind of, closer, okay? But you still got it in here. You got to get it in that pad. So here, take a look, watch. So as I kind of do this, right, it's got to be in that pad. See where it's under that pad? So if I kind of did this, you ever watch Adam Scott? No? When he addresses it, you see how he always gets his hand clubbed next to his side and he puts his grip on? Which is a really good way to kind of get that going, okay? So the first thing is we want to kind of focus in on that left hand, making sure that's good. Okay, so just kind of put it next to your side. Get this on top. Feel that? Okay, now try to do what we just talked about. Yeah, a little bit easier, right? You see what we're talking about there? Okay, so we still need to work on some forearm strength a little bit and some hand strength a little bit there. Okay, but let's keep going with that. Yeah. There you go, perfect. That's what we're trying to go for right there. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, so I know it's not very exciting or sexy, right? But that's something that we need to kind of do at least, 10 or 15 minutes a day, right? I think the best way for you is to get the club next to our side like Adam Scott does and get that grip. Okay, you're going to find that your left hand's going to feel a little bit more on top a little bit. Okay. Good, good, okay. Now, let's take our grip with just our left hand, what we're doing there. Next to our side, just like Adam Scott. Yeah, good. Let's take our grip. Okay, you're doing well there, so let's take our grip right there. Good. Now, let's bring in our right hand a little bit. Okay, much better. Okay, now what do we have there? Interlock or overlap?
Interlock.
Interlock, okay, let me take a look and see. And grab it. Okay. Let's do the club next to our side here, so we make sure that we're staying consistent. There you go. Good. Now let's bring in the right hand. Very good. Okay. Good. Check. See. Where are we interlocking at?
You don't interlock, dude. He just grips one hand
I grip
on
out.
top of the other.
Yeah. Well, we're getting away from that. Come here. Okay. We're gonna interlock. Okay. Now that makes a lot more sense now to me, right? So if I got two different levers here, right? I got two different units working separately, right? And you're right-handed, you're going to have that right hand throwing that club. So we need to get that one unit going right there. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's go again. Good. Good. So as we come on in here, yep. This guy's going to come out. This guy's going to come in. Good. Okay. Feel that? Okay, that's where we need to kind of be. Okay, so now we've got one unit, not two hands going right there. Okay, that's why we're getting so much face flip as we come through here, because these guys are fighting each other right now, right? So we need to make sure they're on the same team. Does that make sense, big guy? I know it's not exciting, but we gotta make sure we address that. Okay, let's do it again. Good. Good, there you go, very good, okay? All right, so with that new swing or that new grip, just give me a light little swing, a little quarter swing, and get feel for it, right? Good, again. Good. Good. There you go. Okay. What do you notice different about what you're doing now compared to what you were doing before? Give me some feels or ideas.
It just feels more smooth and I could control the club better
Okay.
than before.
Okay, good. That's good. Okay. You feel like you got a little bit more control of the face a little bit and not kind of flopping around on you a little bit?
Yes, if I do this, now I feel like my club head just like this.
Correct. What did we talk about? When you get to the finish, that thing's sitting like a flat pancake over there, right? And that's because that right hand's come over so much on us, right? And trying to take over. So we need to interlock it. Very good. Okay, good. Good. Now we're working as one unit and that face isn't falling over so much for us. Okay, good. All right, give me just a few more minutes on that and then we're going to hit some small shots to get a use, get a feel for that. All right, that's a big change for us today. We getting a good feel for that now, my man?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so let's kind of do this. We're going to kind of do a few shots here. So I want you to give me 4 swings here, okay? Really focusing on that grip, okay? Getting a feel for the interlocking grip that we were getting, all right? Now what I want you to kind of do to start off with a little bit is get that grip, get that club next to your side so you get a good feel for it, right? Good, just like Adam Scott does. All right, and then we'll bring that club out in front of us. Good. Okay, good. So let's just hit some small shots and get used to that grip, okay, partner? Good job. Good job. Okay. Big thing I can see now is our path is positive. Okay, I know it's a small swing, but our face is negative, and it's not 4 or 5 degrees negative, it's just a little negative. Yeah. There we go, partner. Right. Okay. Remember, we're just trying to go for a feel, right? Getting used to that left hand being where it needs to be, that right hand being to be where it needs to be, and the interlocking grip. It's a big change for us today. Good. Good.
Hit that one with the back of the club.
You hit that one with the back of the club?
Hit it with the heel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Give me one more here, okay? That right hand's starting to get a little bit under again, okay? Yeah, there you go. See how this V kind of goes right up to your shoulder? you have a tendency to want to get like this a little bit, and that's just something we got to fight. But we don't want to be doing this. Does that make sense, big guy? Good. Good. Okay. Now, set up for me. Good. Now take the club and point it straight out towards me. Are we going left? We got a shut club face. There we go. Is that more square? Okay, keeping our hands in the same position. Very good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring that club down to the bottom. It's going to look open to you because you're used to having it closed, okay? But that's the proper look that we need to kind of have, okay? All right, doing great. Any questions so far, guys? Okay.
Good.
It's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right? Because I'm sure that's a different feel of the weight in our hands, a different look for sure, right? There you go. Good job. Good work. Okay. Don't be afraid to release that club now, okay? Now that you've got it a little bit open, you can get aggressive with that release, okay? Maybe a little too aggressive, but that's fine. As I said, the big thing today is making sure that we get that grip. All right, now, let me ask you this right now. Have you felt any pressure in that right hand as you're coming through, like any burning sensation or anything like that? That's good. That's big for us, right? Because we don't need to be getting, welts and burns on our hands as we play. We want to play healthy. Good. Better.
One thing that might distract me is the pinching, because this I tend to squeeze when I go to swing. I want to let go of my club. So this, like what it does with him, it might start swelling up, but I should get used to it after a little bit.
Well, remember, we want to, if I were to say, having pressure in our hands, where we'd want to have it more is not on the back end back here, but I'd much rather have the pressure in my hands right here, right? I want to make sure that I kind of have these guys kind of tight. If I was talking about pressure in anything, right? But I want to kind of have, anywhere my grip pressure kind of being anywhere from 6 to 7, maybe 8 possibly, but we don't need a 10 or 11, right? So, and that's just going to come with time. Good. Good. All right. Very good. Again, right? Feel that grip? That's good. That's important. I'm going to take a look at this one here a little bit, see how we're doing. Any questions, big guy? Everything feeling kind of comfortable a little bit? Getting used to it?
Yep.
All right, good. So do we have any big plans for the this summer other than just practicing our golf?
Playing golf.
Playing golf, okay, I like that.
Last time we played, when he was explaining, first 9 I was doing really well, but then the back 9 got me. It was the same with him. I beat him by a long shot the first 9, but the back 9 he beat me.
Yeah, to be honest with you, at what are we, 11, 12? 12? 18 holes is a lot of golf.
He typically plays like 12.
Okay, yeah.
I've played 17 or 16 fully before, and I
Yeah.
teed off on 17, and I was like, I'm done.
That was closer to the fall, and it was a little cooler. And we were playing slow because we were in a pretty long train of people. Like, when we went out Saturday, we were waiting on people, and we still got it done in 4 hours.
Which is like an hour.
It was So we were like, oh, it's taking so long. It's like, it's actually our pace of play is not bad.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, he played 12, and we kind of have a rule too. Like if he tees off and he loses it, you get one more.
Mhm.
And if that one doesn't go well, like, all right,
Next hole.
next hole. Like,
Because I don't want to create bad habits like you told me.
Oh, yeah,
Don't keep
absolutely.
swinging bad and create bad habits. I give myself, my body a little time to adjust, and then I'll swing again. And if that's good, then I'll play the
yeah,
hole.
like
Yeah.
hole 3 on the south, you got to hit it over the pond,
Mm-hmm.
fairway.
Yep.
So he put one
I
in the
put 2 in the
pond.
water.
He put one in the pond. He hooked it. It was like a little short hook. It's like, all right, take another one. He hit it out, but it drew around and landed in the water. It was like, all right, get in the cart.
What
We'll
tee box
go
are
play
you?
Then he ran over a squirrel.
Green.
Is that, what is it? Is
It's one back from the red.
okay.
He plays off the same as me. We typically, like, if he hits a good drive and it's out there,
Mhm.
I'll let him play it from where it lies.
Okay.
But like, if it goes out but not great, he was hitting his 5-wood and his long irons so well. I let him play it where it lies Saturday.
Okay.
Typically, what we'll do is on the par 4s, I'll let him tee off.
Or 5s.
If it lands in the fairway, we pick it up, we bring it to the 100, we chip and putt.
Or 150.
On the par 5s, we bring it to 150.
Yeah.
And then, so we're still 3 shots on.
Yeah.
And then if it's in the fairway, we'll drop it in the fairway. If he's off, we'll go to the 100, but we'll drop it off, and you still gotta play it off the cut. Depending on how he's playing.
Okay.
You know, if we're hitting it good off the tee and we're getting out there, half the time he drives me, so I'm like, we're really gonna move the ball up. Like, but if he's not hitting it off the tee great, we're like, okay, we'll move it up a little bit, but we did Saturday, he was playing good, and we also, like, I was playing off the whites, and then I'm like, it's 6,300 yards, so, no, I don't need that kind of smoke in my life. So we moved up to the green, so less and less we're moving the ball up, because he has enough range and distance now, to where
Yeah.
he's, like, if we move it up to the 100, he's hitting a driver and a pitching wedge.
Yeah.
We're never hitting the in-between.
8 irons
Yeah,
or
we're
7
not,
irons.
we're not hitting our 6, 7, 8. On the quick stuff, on the par 5s, we'll move up to 150. But then he's hitting his 5-wood, so then he's hitting driver 5-wood, chipping, putting.
Yeah.
To get a little more variance, we don't always do it, but
Well, the one thing I would look at is the stroke index for what it is, right? And then, I would kind of, vary my tee for him a little bit. If it's a real easy one, then I would kind of move him back a little bit. But if it's a tough one, like number 3, where it's tough to get over the water, I'd probably move up to
Yeah.
like the reds or the golds or whatever they got, and just kind of go from there a little bit. 1, to build confidence, and 2,
Yeah.
to really kind of vary some of those things.
I think on the south more so than the
Also,
north, the red and the green are basically the same tee box a lot of the time. Like they'll like they're at least in the same tee box area. So if you're hitting from the red, maybe you're getting 5 yards. So it's like whatever.
Yeah, let's just kind of keep work with the grip real quick.
I think on the north you have more variance.
Yeah.
Where your reds are actually in front of your green. Both of them play about the same yardage.
Okay.
From, like, the reds are about the same yardage north and south, and the greens are about the same yardage north and south. North is actually a little longer from the greens than the south is.
Okay.
I think because you have more tee box variance. Like,
Well,
the
I
red
think
and the
that-
green aren't the same exact spot, like, on the north as much as they are on the south.
Well, I think the slope rating is a lot less for the north than it is the south. So
Yeah.
that's why they try to get the slope rating up just a little bit by moving those tee boxes back and trying to get a variance on that. Let's keep going with it, okay? And then we're gonna kind of switch it up here a little bit. Good. Good. What's that club face looking like?
Closed.
Yeah, there we go. Good, good. Hands just a little bit forward for me. No, you're good. You're good with your hand position. Yep. So we just want to kind of feel like, all right, feel how you got the hands just in front. All right, we want to create forward shaft lean and maintain forward shaft lean. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I would kind of focus on, for right now, for learning purposes, 9 holes, just kind of staying in that realm.
Yep.
The big thing for him, if he can, right, at this point, if he can break 50, he's definitely on a good record to make a high school team or some kind of traveling team if he wanted to. So that's where I'd kind of keep my focus at right there. You know, the extra holes afterwards, I would probably come off the tee box a little bit and just, you know, maybe throw balls around the 100 or around the green, chip and putt, and work on the short game and focus on that part.
And that's what we'll do if like there's a hole that he's like, oh, I'm struggling right now. I'm like, all right, we'll take some holes off.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe drop one and chip and putt because
Yeah.
we need to keep working. A lot of his strokes are his putting.
Yeah.
He's not wrong about that.
Probably, I think even playing from the greens,
Gonna get him a lab putter, is that what you're gonna get?
his grandma and grandpa got him a
It's in
really,
the
really
bag.
nice, really nice
Oh, okay.
Cobra
King
putter.
Cobra.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got a plenty good quality putter.
It's just me.
Just gotta work on it, right? Hands a little forward there. Right? See how your hands are back a little bit? Here. Now take a look at that. Alright, so I'm not worried about drawing off. So you can kind of see here the hands are kind of back just a little bit here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to kind of have those hands in line with the inner part of our thigh. Okay, we also want to probably get that ball set up just a little bit in our setup. So let's bring this guy on out.
So like right.
Yeah.
Here.
So, and the other thing I want to kind of address a little bit here with you, right, is, okay, don't worry about the ball, okay? I want you to just give me your regular setup here, okay? What you would kind of, just kind of go through your regular setup, like what your stance and all that would be, okay? Now, my question to you, all right, can you swing powerful from that stance or not?
Probably.
Give me a swing. Tell me, can it be powerful?
Yes.
Okay. Do me a favor. I want you to give me a little bit wider stance and then a little bit narrower stance. Okay, so give me just a little bit wider than normal, and then give me a swing and tell me if you can feel like you're powerful from that, like you can swing with power. More or less than the stance before.
About the same. A little bit more.
Okay. Now give me a little bit narrower stance, narrower than what you're used to.
Like closer.
Yep, that's correct.
Alright, I'm probably gonna fall over.
Okay. That's fine. This is a test. Right. Not so powerful, right? Feel like you got to kind of suck your feet to the ground a little bit, right? So we want to go, remember, everybody's different, right? And the thing I want you to kind of understand is because we bought that little device over there, and we may need to vary some of our length with our stance, right? It's kind of a cookie cutter, but it gives us a real good general idea, okay? But the big thing is that we want to kind of focus on here is what kind of stance can I get to where I can still feel powerful, right? If I get too big like this, then I don't get powerful. And the reason that is that everybody has a different equilibrium in their ear, what their balance point is, right? So that's why we want to kind of test that, right? If we can still swing with power, right, and still stay on balance, that's where we want to kind of be, right? So his stance might be different than yours. Mine's going to be definitely different than yours, right? So we all have something different. Does that make sense, big guy?
Okay.
All right, now, the big thing is, I've got that here. Go ahead and set up to where you kind of feel powerful again. Work on your grip. Good, good. Okay, so this is going to be the middle of our stance right there. Okay, we're going to move this ball up just a bit. Okay, hands are going to be slightly forward right there. No, we don't need to move that right hand. We just need to have it there. Okay, that right hand's going to stay in the same position right there. Okay, now I just want us to kind of give us a swing here. Okay. Good. Once again. Go right again. Different grip. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I have to squeeze it with my thumb to keep like it. 'Cause I feel like if I swing, it's just gonna the head's just gonna do what it wants. I can control it through, but I just can't
Yeah, why do we want to control the head?
So, 'cause
Right, that just kind of, that leads to what we're kind of doing there, right? So remember, right, I know it's awkward, right? But remember, that's what the club wants to kind of do, right? You're trying to hold it and guide it, right? So that club is going to release a little bit It's just not going to get flipped over. Does that make sense, big guy?
I just feel like I want to pop it, like coming down, slice on.
Well, let's take a look at the hands here, okay? So the right hand's getting just a little bit under again, just a smidge, but that's something we're gonna have to work on. Okay. Now at this point, okay, let's kind of take a look at this, right? So our shoulders are at a quarter turn, and I've got absolutely no wrist set yet. Keep going. Better, we're catching up. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. So, we're kind of getting a little long with the swing for where we're at right now. Okay, because you can see we're right here. And then watch this little move. See how you get into it just a little bit? Okay, so we want to try to get our club to about here. Okay? We don't need to go back too far. I guarantee you're going to hit it just far enough with that right now. What we've got. Okay, let's see how we come on down here just a little bit. Start to unwind a little bit, and then we're down through. Okay. Good. Let's see how we're doing with the head. See if we're keeping it on the line like I want. Yeah, getting a little bit into it. Okay. So let me ask you this. When you get up to the top of your swing, where do you feel most of your weight?
In my back foot.
Are you sure?
No, my front foot.
On your front foot? Okay. That's what I was going to say, because we're getting our head up front of this line. I should be a little bit further back. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's take a grip, and we're going to, this is what I want you to kind of do. Step on out real quick for me, partner. Okay. What you're going to do now, okay, is that we're going to take a swing, and then you're going to look towards me. Okay, I'm going to stand back over there, and you're going to look towards me. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do that. And what I want you to do, because now we're going to get in the world of feel, okay, I want you to feel where your weight's at compared to what you're doing right now. Does that make sense? All right, okay. All right. So go ahead and take a swing for me, big guy, and I want you to look back here towards me. Mm-hmm. I want you to hold it for me, okay?
Like this, hold it.
Mm-hmm. Better? Okay, again. So I want you to kind of do this. Go ahead and do it again. Yep. Okay. Where do you notice your weight at?
Back foot.
Correct. Okay? Now, what we want to kind of do is we want to reverse that. Swing your head through. All right? And look, where's your weight now?
Front foot.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Okay? Looking back towards the camera. Okay? Once again, looking back towards the camera. Right. Okay, once again, looking back towards the camera. Right? Now do this for me. Okay? I want you to take a swing back and look forward. Yep.
Well, keep my head like this.
So here, you're going to do this. Okay, as you swing back, I want you to do this. Look forward. That's what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Weird.
Yeah. Looks weird too. Okay? That's what I'm trying to get at right there, right? It feels uncomfortable, right? But for whatever reason, you're putting that movement pattern into your swing. Does that make sense? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, two big things we're going to work on today is the grip and making sure that we get a little bit of that reverse pivot out. Okay, looking towards the camera. All right, there you go. Good. Okay. All right. Now remember, as much as we like to think about it, golf isn't a hand-eye coordination game. Okay, it's not like baseball or football where I'm trying to grab and throw things, right? This is a position game, right? So if I can get my ball in the right position, I can get my body in the right position, then I can hit the ball. There's a reason why there's blind people playing this sport, right? Not because they've got great hand-eye coordination, because they took out the eyes. Does Does that make sense? Right? It's a position game. Down and through. Okay. Do that one more time for me, please. Hold on one second. Let me just get this guy up. Go right ahead. Good. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy, okay? Compared to this guy right here. Okay? Alright, so as we go, got a lot of weight going in the front side there. You see how the head's going on into the line there? Let's take a look at this guy. Yeah. Okay, see, now you can see that the weight's going into that trail side now, right? Now here's the other big thing that I'm starting to see now, right? That length of swing isn't getting so far, right? Because you're not trying to lift to get up to a position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to start feeling what that's going to feel like, right? Okay, and start working around that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Kyle, do you want to take a look real quick?
Sure.
So, big thing that we're kind of working on just a little bit, right? As he goes. Now he's got all that weight in the backside.
Yep.
Okay. Shortened up the swing a little bit. We'll get the head in a little bit better position a little bit, but to be honest, we need to go with that right now. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Good work right there, buddy. Okay. So do that, pause up at the top, and try to make a strike on the ground a little bit, right? Oh, we can do that. Right? We didn't stare at the ball. Good job, buddy. Good work. Okay. Keep going. Good work. Okay. You feel where the weight's going now? Do you feel how it's coming back to the back?
Switch is way easier. I feel like the switching in weight is a lot smoother than before.
Well, we're now switching weight. Does that make sense? Instead of you getting onto your front side trying to reverse your pivot to come back.
I'm doing this.
Correct. There you go, buddy. There you go. So, got to keep working on that right now, okay? Right? Focus on that grip, and then turn and look at the camera. Get that feel for what it is. Yep. Yep. Now, if I put a ball there, right, you could probably hit it, right? If we got down to the ground and all that, right? So it's just making sure that we get our body and get our club in a good position. All right, keep going, big guy. Good work. One more for me, my man. Good. Okay. So let's kind of come on out of performance world, where we're trying to go, and let's just try to hit some shots. Okay? Let's go on out here. We can go to, I think we go practice. I think we can go on course park target practice. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now, do you guys have a membership here at one time, or?
Here?
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. What club do we have in our hand there, my man?
An AR.
Let's go with a 120 club right now. We're gonna go with a 120, or actually we'll go with a 100, and just kind of see what we do right there. Okay, so that's our target. Okay, let's try to go with the focus of what we're working on, right? Okay, so a few things that we want to kind of rehearse here, just a little bit, kind of get an idea, right? One, we're focusing on our grip. Okay. Two, we're going to have the ball a little bit more up in our stance than what you're used to.
Right here.
Yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortably forward. Okay, that's how I would put that. Okay, the other thing that we want to kind of focus on is making sure that we get a little bit of our shaft lean forward, okay? Getting our hands to our left foot there a little bit. And the big thing is that we're trying to do now is that we're trying to go away from getting into our left side as we start and getting more of that feeling as I turn my head this way, my weight goes that way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so let's try to work on those things, okay? Any questions, my man? Okay, very good. Feel that grip, good job. Good interlocking grip, good job.
Do I turn my head like I was doing before?
No, we don't want to do that, okay? Because that's just a feel, right? We're trying to, you know, this is where we're really getting into the world of the feel, right? We got to kind of, you know, maybe we take a practice swing to get that feel, and then we try to bring it on into contact, right? Okay, good. Good. Pretty good. I'm not worried about where it goes, okay? Let's try to give me a couple more swings and get that feel, right? Get that into a routine for us, okay? Good work. Pretty straight. Good job. Give me a couple practice swings. Don't get cocky. Right? Feel that, feel what we're trying to do, right? Looking back towards the camera. All right, there you go. That's what we want to kind of do with our practice swing a little bit, right? There you go. Good. A little thin. There we go. Right? Looking back here towards me when we take our practice swing, right? Little forward shaft lean, falls up a little bit more than what we like. Good. Again. Yeah, there you go, buddy. Good work. How's it feeling for us? You starting to get a good understanding of what we're trying to do?
Yep.
Okay, how the grip works, right? How we want to make sure that we're transferring our weight to the backside and then transferring it through. That's just a natural process. Yep. There you go. Very good. Don't rush it. One more. All right. Let's come on through. Good.
I don't usually launch them like that. Is that say the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Height and ball flight is definitely something that he's probably getting it up.
Mm-hmm.
Going is definitely something that.
Well,
the other thing too that I noticed, if I can interject, 'cause I
yeah,
see this
absolutely.
a lot.
Please.
So
Use a long
I noticed, and I know he does this all the time, and I'm watching him do it now.
Mm-hmm.
He gets into this really nice position, and then he does, I call it a shimmy. He
Okay.
shimmies, and then he shimmies, and then he shimmies. So he goes from here, and he's aimed, and he shimmies, and then he shimmies. And then we're underneath, and we're open. And you can see, he went straight, out, out, out. So he'll do his swings, he won't re-grip, and then he'll get up to the ball, and he'll be like, just do a shimmy, and then he's like this.
Yeah. The thing is now that we're the problem why he probably shimmies is something that comes from him having that reverse pivot.
Yeah.
He's trying to get himself in a position where he can do that and still get behind the ball.
Yeah.
Does that make
Because I
sense?
see him do it all the time. He gets in it, and he does it putting too.
Mm-hmm.
To get it lined up, and he'll get there, and then he'll look. I'm like now you went from aimed 4 cups out where I told you, and now you're aimed 3 cups left.
Yeah, and that comes to
Yeah.
that really comes down to just practice and discipline,
Yeah.
right? I mean, just getting yourself.
I
used to
think,
seeing-
and he's in his head like he's like I gotta be perfect, and he does. It's like nerves.
Oh yeah.
He'll do the shimmy, and I'm like, and so we go. I'm watching him do it now, and he's like lined up. He's perfect. He's like, and then that.
I shimmy because
That right hand starts to drift under, and that's the big thing that he'll be. I've seen him, Tim. I shit you not, like this.
I believe it. Especially if he's talking about getting welts and bruises on
I'm
there.
like,
Yeah.
you have an under-over grip.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, you gotta bring that up.
I
And then if
do
it's a
that.
bad shot, they'd be like, oh, it's because of the grip. I'm like, well, this wasn't gonna work.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, like, I think he just needs to have a little more confidence when he gets set up. He's good,
Hmm.
and just go for it,
Yeah.
and not like he'll do his practice swings, and then he'll get up there and he'll just start to move.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
he's like it's like you don't have Parkinson's, dude. What do you like? You don't need to shake.
Yeah,
So-
that's just that's a combination of getting ourselves in a bad position. You can tell with him trying to shut the club face down, at address a little bit, and also where he's getting his grip and how far the ball's back. He knows somewhere in his psyche that he's in a bad position, but he's trying to get himself in the best position that he can to make the move that he's comfortable with, right? And what we really need to kind of work on is just making sure that he gets comfortable with the new move, because now we're starting to see more loft on the face, right? And the big thing is that more that he's got forward shaft lean, he's going to get that pop off come through. Good, right?
wow, that was like 3 times longer than the other one before that.
Yeah.
Other one before that, you saw that hill that was in front of the water and like next to it.
Mhm.
It went on top of that and rolled down. That one went past that.
Yeah. The big thing is that most of what we're trying to do here is that we are getting loft on the club, right? Instead of hitting that thing down here. Now we're starting to get some loft on that club, right? And that's because now you're shifting your weight back here to get behind the ball, and as you come through, you're capturing that ball in a good position or better position. Okay? Let's keep going, big guy. You're doing great. Yeah, there you go. We're going to do a mess of that. Okay, get that right hand more over. You see how it's starting to get under? Yeah, that's just going to take time. A little bit more on top. Where do you think that? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. This guy's going to be like that. Okay, good. There you go. Good work. Good work, buddy. That's night and day different from the first lesson, pal. Night and day.
Almost all green.
Yeah.
You roll in the sand.
All right. So that one was, for the age that we are, you're getting 125 a carry, total 134. Perfect ballpark where we need to be. Okay. We don't need to be chasing distance, right? That's why we have a 7, 6, and all that. But for what we're doing right now, that's where we need to kind of be. Okay, look at your smash factor, 142, pal. And I bet you don't even feel like you're swinging it.
Not full. I mean, it
Correct.
feels like I'm really crushing it, but I don't feel like I'm putting too much force. I think it's just because it's an iron, they're heavy.
What you're feeling now is forward shaft lean at impact, and not having the shaft in a more neutral position as it comes through. Does that make sense? Okay, good. You're doing great.
At this point, we pretty much like the club I'm gonna with the short irons.
Mm-hmm.
The club that I'm gonna use, basically, I just tell him to use the same thing.
Okay.
Like my 8-iron, I'm like 140 to 150,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. And we're at the point now where I'm like, with your 9, if it's 140, you're not gonna get it there with your 9. So take your 8, and you'll probably. He's also like, because he tends to hit it a little low. I know he tends, you get more roll out of it.
Yeah.
So, I like the idea of him still getting like 135, and we can creep it up to the 140. We don't get the distance out of it.
Well, the big
But he's getting that flight, and we know when it lands, we don't have to. We're not.
Right.
It's not rolling 10 or 15 yards out. It's coming down and it's gonna be where it should be.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with our irons is our carry. The other thing is that we don't want to, as we're in here, we want to stay in the world of focusing on our swing and not the world of performance, right? Because then we start trying to chase a number on a screen. Does that make sense? Okay, so we just want to make the best motion we have. Wherever it is, that's great. But I think we're onto the really right track right now.
That's,
Okay.
we've been working on too. Like he'll be disappointed. Like the ball, like he'll hit a shot and he's like, "Oh, I didn't make it." I'm like, look, it looked good.
Mhm.
Like we got loft and
Yeah.
like we hit a golf shot.
Yeah.
Like we came up 10 yards short. You're 12. Like it didn't make it.
Absolutely.
I'm much more pleased with the fact that the shape of the shot looked like it should have.
Yes.
We got some carry, we got a little right to left, we had a little bit of a draw there, it came down.
Yeah.
It rested where it didn't get a lot of run out because we hit a nice low iron shot.
And the other thing you've got to keep in mind is that the conditions of the day, the wind, the humidity, these things play a huge factor. Right?
I'd go in the woods.
That's okay. You're still getting loft on it. Let's keep
Oh, I
going.
see.
There's so many factors, right? So like when I watched Roy the other day, he was playing in January in Florida, right? And there's a bunker that's 310 yards. And Brandon Chambly goes, "Hey, can you carry that?" And he goes, "Not today." So his drive on that was 254 yards, and he smashed it.
Yeah.
So
It's colder, the ball's more solid, the air's
Right.
probably thicker because it's colder.
Hands forward. Okay, hands forward. There you go. Good. Feel that forward shot from Right, a little thin.
Oh.
Right, maybe a little thin, but definitely still
Green.
getting the loft. Right,
Yeah.
that's important. That's very important.
It was on the green. Let's go.
Okay, good job. Good work. Right, and that was a miss, right? We got on the green. That's always good.
And that's his big thing. Like, I mean, he was a little disappointed Saturday. He's like, all the holes I played, I didn't get a single par. I was like, well, yeah, and it wasn't because of your shots getting to the green. It was because your putts is why you had birdie putts that you missed. And then he missed the putt coming back.
Turn 2 into 3 and
Yeah.
maybe 4.
He
Something
could have
like that.
2-putted for par. He had, it was longer birdie putts, but.
Going even farther.
Absolutely.
And also, I told him, I was like, but we also didn't play the drive chip putt game. He played all the holes at distance. And I was like,
The ones I
you
did
missed
play.
you missed a birdie putt on a 350-yard par 4 by an inch. You're 12.
Yeah.
I think I shot a 7 on that hole. So I was like, let's be.
Absolutely.
But
I was like trying to tell him, like, we're not, you're chasing par. You're 12. If you were playing a PGA Junior event, the longest hole you would play is probably like 240,
Yeah.
250. Maybe
Well,
that would be a par 4.
The other thing we got to kind of do is we got to scratch out par
Yeah.
on the card and put our own personal par on
Yeah.
it, right? That's the big thing, and that just keeps us engaged, keeps us motivated,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can be very deflecting if I've got a handicap number 1 and it's a par 4 and I make a 6, right? I feel like I made double bogey. Probably typical par for me, it's going to be 5 or double, right? And that's going to be our par.
Yeah. So we're trying to work on, been trying to like tell him when we go, like we're not chasing par on a par 4 that's 350 yards.
No.
That's a
I
par
also get
4
very stressed.
It's a par 4 for me.
Yeah.
That's for an adult.
I would just cross that out and I'd say this is a par 5
Yeah.
for us, right? And the big goal for you is just 9 holes, right? After that's gravy, right? Don't get too lost in the sauce after that. But our main goal is to play, maybe 6 holes or 9 holes or something like that, but we want to stay focused definitely for those holes right there. Having our scorecard altered, right? Having it look like everything's more of a bogey than it is a par, right? And then after that, I would just really start working, the back 9 is just get around the green, start throwing stuff, balls into the rough, into the bunkers, putting. The big thing for I would say anybody to practice 8-foot putts. If you can convert half of your 8-foot putts, you're on a PGA Tour.
There's a putting green at the member range, and there's bunkers too, so I can practice that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we keep saying we're gonna go to the range and hit sand shots and putt, and then we go hit the
We
range.
never say that. What are you talking about?
Well, I
You
mean,
never
I say it to myself in my head,
You
and
said
then
it
we
once.
get on the
Out
range and we
loud.
start swinging the driver 50
We're like,
times in
All right,
10
50
minutes.
driver, let's go.
man.
Yeah, so
It's
I'm putting it out there, straight and with a driver. So that's all we need for the day.
And he's proud because he doesn't usually do that, apparently, to him.
Well, that's ego, and that's a whole other category of the game of golf, right?
I've been trying to, like
Good job.
reinforce when we're there of we're not worried about if we parred or bogeyed or don't. I worry about that. I'm an adult. We're playing a different game.
Mm-hmm.
But like for him, I keep telling him not so much did we par the hole, did we hit good shots?
Yes.
Like if it's a par 4 and we got a 6, okay, we probably 3-putted. Did we hit good shots getting to the green? We'll fix the putting. That's you get the least practice putting.
Yeah.
So like not worried about par, did we hit good shots? If we hit a good, we put a drive in the fairway, and then did we hit an approach shot that was at least in the vicinity of the green?
Yeah.
If we did that,
Yeah.
we're doing well.
Good.
I mean, I guess I also should think about that. These are at the smallest 250-yard holes, and I'm putting 4s and 5s on them. I should be pretty happy.
Listen, I've gone to hurricane tournaments, and I've seen kids that are 12 years old, and I watched one kid, he shot 146
On what? Like, what was
for 18 holes. Right? I mean,
146?
yeah, that's a lot of strokes.
Are they about, is the course like about same length as Lake Jovita?
Probably about what you're playing. So, needless to say, right? We're not the biggest kid. We're not the biggest kid struggling out there, right? Does that make sense?
Not in any way.
Right? Does that give you perspective, right? So, at least you're not that
Because
Yeah. Could be
me and
worse.
guy. Could be worse. There's always somebody worse.
me and my grandpa, my pop, we went golfing at the airplane or airport course. That's what they call them.
Zephyr Hills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Zephyr Hills. There was a kid who only hit a hybrid, and he played every shot, and he hit it like 5 yards, and he was definitely struggling.
Yeah.
His dad was like, "You gotta do this." He wasn't very good either. No, neither of them were very good.
Well, I think we're on the right path here. Okay, so let's hit a few more here. Okay, stay focused on what we're doing. Okay. All right. Feel like as we turn back, we're looking towards that camera, and then swing it through. Good job.
Crap. Middle of the room.
Good.
All right. Yeah.
See it on the par 3 that has the water, the north course. I'll take that shot on that any day.
Good. Swinging back, looking towards the camera, right? Having that feeling, getting those feels. Yeah, good job. Weight transfer there. A little quick, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right, we're not chasing distance. We're trying to go for what we got. Good job.
In the fairway.
Good swing. Might be just a little left, but good swing.
Yeah.
Give me a couple more here. We're gonna look at the last one and see how we're doing.
Definitely did I wanted to close the face because of my old swing thing. That's why I went.
Okay. Okay.
But I didn't do it.
Good,
enough
honest
first.
assessment. Good job.
That one I messed up on. Hey, hit it.
That's It's a learning process, my friend. You're doing great.
Should I do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more, big guy. Let's do one more and take a
End
look
it off
at
on
it.
a good note.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Good.
It's better.
Better.
I'll
Right.
end off with that.
That's okay. It's over.
It's safe.
All right.
1 million.
I don't think we can take a look at that. But let's kind of have a little talk of what we're working on here, okay? So have a good little recap here for everybody. Where's the old? All right, big thing is we've got a grip minder at the house or something like that, something that little
I've
mold.
got a clip-on one.
You got one?
Yeah, I've got one of the clip-on ones.
Perfect, perfect. So let's just kind of put that on there, make sure it's square to the club face that we're looking for, right? But the big thing is that we want to make sure that we're getting that left hand in a good position like we talked about. All right, I should be able to lift that club up with one finger underneath my pad. That's going to keep that club in a good position, okay? We don't want to get it into the palm. Yeah, now you're doing great. We were really struggling with that in the morning, right? So that's a big indicator for us right there,
I'm not 100% sure I can do that myself.
right? So that's going to take some time.
Pretty easy, show you to it.
Right, the big thing is that right hand getting too far underneath, right? And now we're going to an interlocking grip. So there's a lot going on there with the feels, right?
Yep.
But the big thing is that we want to make sure that we're getting that right hand or that V to kind of point more up towards my right shoulder than getting underneath. Okay, that's going to be the big thing for us. That's going to help save that hand a little bit, right? Now the other big thing, big thing for us today was getting the idea, right, as I swing, looking at the camera. Where's the weight? You can feel it back here. There's no other way, right? Okay. Now what I tried to do to you, and you got really weird about this, is you go, how am I going to do this and swing that way? Right? If I had you look forward, it doesn't feel comfortable, right? But we can see that in the swing. Let me get this for Danny. We can see that in the swing. Come on in, big guy. Yes. No, you're good.
You ready to move my stuff?
It's hot out there.
Ready to move my stuff.
Right? So, right, the big thing for us, right, is that we're kind of turning back and looking towards the camera. We're getting that feel, right?
Yeah.
So we really want to get that feeling of that weight transfer, right? Now, what I can also notice here is as we kind of do this, right, and I turn, your swing isn't getting so far up and back and getting that lift, right? So now you're getting here, you know where you're at, right? And we don't need to go any further than that. That's your swing, and that's perfect, right? And then as we come through here, if I move my head, that's our weight transfer, right? So we want to work a lot on that as well. Now the other thing that we kind of talked about here, just a little bit, club face. Make sure that we're not getting the face closed, okay? That's when we're going to start going hard left, okay? So we want to work on that. The other thing that we kind of talked about just a bit, right? Let's get the ball a little bit up in our position, okay? If I get too far back, then I'm going to really get back underneath it, right? So this is going to be able to get me to drive down through as we come through, okay? Now the other thing that we kind of talked about just a little bit, right, is that as you set up, we want to have the hands just a little forward with our irons, okay? We're not talking about the woods or the driver right now, okay? We're talking about the irons, okay? And that's where we want to kind of be and kind of stop for today. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions before we break, gentlemen?
No, I think that's good. We'll see if we can, I'm working from home today.
Now I go to golf.
I
So-
got you.
Maybe we can, well, I don't know if we're gonna play 9 holes, but we can at least go to the range maybe